Hi everyone, my name is Yuxuan, currently Year 12 student in Jinan Foreign Language School International Center. 1 month ago, I just received an offer email from Cambridge University. Over the past month, one question has echoed around me time and time again. How did you manage to secure that offer? At first, my mind immediately raced to the usual suspects. Top exam scores, competition awards, and a list of accomplishments that looked good on paper. But the more I reflected, the more I realized that beneath all those achievements lay something far more powerful. A mindset, one that allowed me to push through challenges, silence self-doubt, and ultimately claim what I had. So today, I want to share with you the power of reconciliation, which helped me to overcome anxiety and get what I deserved. Before I recognized the importance of making peace with myself, I was never easily satisfied. During my primary school and junior high school days, I always got the highest score in my class. It wasn't just an achievement. It became a habit, an expectation so deeply ingrained that being the best felt like a given. Entering senior high, however, what I thought was a habit became a struggle, then a dream, then a distant mirage. The courses I had were much more difficult than those in junior high school, and in every course, I could find a classmate who was better than me. Nowhere were these shifts more brutal than in math, the subject I had always dominated. I tried my best to compete with them, writing down everything the teacher said in class, reading every math book that I could find. But when it came to solving math problems, there were always some students who could come out with a solution just using their intuition. I kept racing with those math geniuses, but gradually I felt bound, shackled, trapped, not by my classmates or my teachers, but by my own expectations. I was chasing an image of myself that was slipping further out of reach. Where was I? The confident, high-achieving, top-scoring me. The version of me that once thrived, now buried beneath the weight of pressure and self-doubt. I believe that I'm not the only person who used to have that kind of experience. How many of us here have spent all of our energy and time on one single task, yet the endeavor needed seemed to be infinite? We are consistently told by our parents and teachers that the more hardworking we are, the more achievements we can get. However, there are always some times when our pains are not proportional to our gains. People may continue to chase their dreams, but during the process, they are overwhelmed by the feeling of frustration and anxiety. Those experiences perfectly illustrate the necessity of reconciliation. And now I'm going to show you when and how we should make peace with ourselves. The first question: when do we need reconciliation? Well, we can find many situations in our daily lives where we need to make peace with ourselves. We need reconciliation when we fall short of our own expectations. When we realize that not every goal is attainable. And when we understand that comparing ourselves to others only steals our joy. However, they can all be summed up as one situation: facing imperfections and chaos. We live in a society that has an extremely low tolerance for failure and mistakes, which forces us to blindly persist in the pursuit of a goal, making it difficult to accept our own limitations and flaws, leading to frustration, self-doubt, and even burnout. We have carried the weight of those demands for far too long. It's time to find a method to shatter the illusion of perfection and turn away from the society's relentless expectations. This brings us to the next question. How can we apply reconciliation? Reconciliation means letting go of the unrealistic standards we've internalized and understanding that our worth is not tied to perfection. It's about finding balance, striving for progress, while being kind to ourselves when things don't work out. Instead of getting stuck with our goals, what we should do is to review our aims and evaluate their practicality. We should accept the fact that some goals exceed our ability and we are very likely to fail in the process of chasing them. It is this minor change of mind that can liberate a frustrated man from self-blame and start to find an alternative to their goals. That was exactly what I did when I encountered obstacles during the process of studying mathematics. Reflecting on my past, I recognized that my previous successes led me to mistakenly believe I was destined to be the best. After giving up that obsession, I felt a strong sense of relief and calmness. I could study at my own pace without being affected by peer pressure, and I could appreciate others' achievements sincerely, building a good friendship with them. Moreover, I started to search for other subjects that I truly loved. And finally, I found that I was keen on studying engineering. I devoted myself to it, making a series of engineering projects in my high school days. It was my passion for engineering that eventually led me to successfully get the offer from Cambridge. Now, you might think that making peace with yourself is very easy, but I should point out that not many people get its true essence. First, some people simply interpret reconciliation as giving up when you face difficulties. But reconciling with yourself should not be an excuse for the avoidance of responsibility. Indeed, we need to reconcile with ourselves when we set goals that exceed our ability. However, you will never know your true potential unless you try your best to solve the problems you meet. Furthermore, rather than dismissing the efforts you put into pursuing your goals, reconciliation empowers you by alleviating your fear of failure. Confessing that my math talent was not as obvious as other students did not mean I abandoned studying mathematics at all. Getting rid of the pressure from my peers, I actually had more motivation to study mathematics. Second, many people are reluctant to make peace with themselves because they fear that once they accept the possibility of failure, they may lose their courage to fulfill their dreams. However, admitting the existence of failure is just half of the process of reconciliation. The other, and the most important half, is that we should turn our minds from being overwhelmed by the consequences of failure to finding solutions to ameliorate our situations. In other words, only after reconciling with themselves can someone start to chase their dreams without being affected by negative emotions. In conclusion, my journey to Cambridge was not just a result of relentless pursuit, but also a testament to the power of reconciliation. I learned that breaking free from the society's obsession with perfection and the blind insistence on achieving every goal at all costs is not a sign of weakness, but a step toward true growth. By making peace with my imperfections and accepting that not every dream is within reach, I found clarity, balance, and ultimately success on my own terms. Reconciliation is not about giving up. It's about breaking the cycle of self-imposed pressure and unrealistic expectations. As we navigate a world that often demands perfection, let us remember that the true courage lies in accepting our flaws and finding the strength to move forward despite them. Let us stop measuring our worth by arbitrary standards, and instead celebrate the progress we make, no matter how small. Let us reconcile with ourselves, not as an act of surrender, but as a powerful step toward a more fulfilling and authentic life. Thanks very much.